All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming around the world on classic1220.ca. My guest this hour, the second hour of tonight's show, is Karen FORREST. She's often known as the Angel Lady, and she is a Canadian author and motivational speaker who is recognized for her work regarding angels and spirituality. She lives on Prince Edward Island and has established herself as someone who offers counseling and guidance rooted in spiritual connection with angels. Karen has written several books about angels and claims to have the ability to communicate with angels, providing angel readings and spiritual counseling to help people in their personal and spiritual growth. She draws upon her experiences and knowledge to help individuals find guidance and healing, encouraging a more holistic approach to life's challenges. Her reputation as the Angel Lady stems from her commitment to teaching others about angels and helping them connect with their guidance. This persona has helped her to reach a wider audience through her books, workshops, and public speaking engagements. Karen FORREST's work tends to blend the realms of spirituality, self-help, and New Age beliefs, offering her perspective on how angels can impact our lives positively. Her website, KarenForrest.com. That's KarenForrest.com. And Karen, welcome back to the X Zone. Great having you with us.
Thanks. It's wonderful to be back again.
So what's new in Prince Edward Island? How did the total eclipse affect everybody on the island?
Thankfully, in a very good way. I was very privileged. I was able to drive an hour and a half from where I live to see the actual total eclipse for about 3 minutes. And it was amazing, and it was very calming, peaceful energy, because sometimes with what's going on really in the alignment of planets, the energy can be a little bit off-putting or a little bit unsettling, and that was not the case with the solar eclipse.
How does the solar eclipse affect the angels?
Doesn't affect them, but it affects sensitive people on the earth, because sometimes people can feel a little bit off or unsettled, and in this case it was actually the opposite. I had more of my clients and myself noticing as sensitive, intuitive people that were feeling more calmer and peaceful, where 10 days beforehand, to me, whatever was going on in the world was actually making me more irritable than usual. So at least this was very peaceful and calming, which rather surprised me, and I was thrilled with that.
As you drew closer and closer to the total eclipse, were the questions that people call you to ask the angels, did they differ, or was it work as usual?
They didn't differ, except where some of my more intuitive clients were asking, should I view it, and should I do something to prepare myself to view it? So some of my clients were asking those type of questions.
Exonation, our guest this hour is Karen FORREST in Prince Edward Island. And Karen is the author of Angels of the Maritimes, Canadian Angels, Angels of the Maritimes, Volume 2, and Angel Lady of the Maritimes. One of the questions that we get asked after you've been on the show is, how do archangels get to the rank of archangels? Are these angels that have worked their way up the ranks, or is there a difference between the ordinary angels and archangels?
Yeah, in my terminology, there is no difference, except we call them archangels for whatever reason. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. But people ask me that a lot. Are they more powerful? Are they higher? And we like to use those terms as humans, but they're not higher. The definition is still the same, and it's pure love, it's pure light, it's the highest vibration. So whether I'm speaking to an angel in general, or your guardian angels or archangels, they all have the same powers.
Where do archangels or angels come from? What is their beginning?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, religiously, I couldn't even tell you where the
Really?
beginnings are because my focus is more the spiritual aspect. But to me, they are like an aspect of a divine source, or what I also call God. But God, in my terminology, is pure love and pure light. So they're messengers of God, and they've always been around in any religion. They're going to talk about some form of angels. That's why they're so popular. Many of my clients have various religious and spiritual backgrounds, but they still love to talk about angels and connect with angels because of their religious backgrounds.
It seems that the most popular archangels that we hear of is, of course, Archangel Michael, like you said, Raphael.
Yes.
And how many archangels are there that are predominant and well known to the public, besides these two?
Yeah, the two most well-known ones are the ones you mentioned, Michael and Archangel Raphael. I've connected with, and through my training, probably about at least 15 different archangels, but that's come with experience and invoking them to get familiar with their energies. So, for example, Archangel Jophiel, who I call upon as the angel of beauty, she's very practical for shopping and that type of thing, versus Archangel Ariel, who works with animals or is known to. Now, again, any archangel can do anything, but they have certain titles that they're known for because of religion or storytelling.
In what ways are angels believed to interact with humans around the world, Karen?
Yeah, in what way? Usually people call it mysterious ways, when they least expect it, or when they need them the most. So people could be saying, oh, come on, angels, I really need your help with this right now. And then suddenly they'll have an appearance of a human being, which is really an angel in disguise, or receive a message or a feeling from an angel. So a lot of it's through feelings that they have a sense of warmth or comfort or peacefulness that suddenly comes over them, or they literally hear words like, I'm with you now.
Interesting. So how do different religions perceive angels?
I honestly couldn't tell you because my focus isn't religion. I just know that in the ones my clients talk about, and with what little I do know in the religious aspect, is that people in churches or religions tend to feel more comfortable sometimes with angels than the word God or other divine beings of that sort, like God or Buddha. They prefer to work with angels more on a personal level. They have that more of that comfort level for some reason.
Are angels depicted differently in different art styles and literatures across the different cultures, or are they all the same?
They tend to be the same with the drawings and pictures that I have seen. They are consistently the same. So I don't see differences. And almost always you're going to see them either with wings or halos around them.
Yeah, I
see the halos. Really, what that means is someone's really more visual or seeing the auric field or the auras around a divine being, around an angel.
I see. Of course, everybody knows at Christmas time in the Christian religion and all the other religions that follow the Christian, or not the Christian, but the birth of Christ, Gabriel angel. Gabriel.
Yes.
Yeah, who came to Mary and told her that she was going to have the Son of God.
Yes.
Are there other examples like this that you could share with us where angels have played such a significant part?
In the way of religion, not so much, because that is my most common example, Archangel Gabriel, which, interestingly enough, in the Bible, Archangel Gabriel is referred to as he, but I tend to feel her as more feminine energy, so I say she. Also, the other one will be Archangel Michael for releasement. So when you think, you're asking me that question about what are typical drawings or paintings. Right. Archangel Michael, any painting picture, you're going to tend to see him wearing or holding either a sword in his hand or a shield in his hand, because he is known in various religions for releasement and protection. He's also the Saint Paint. Archangel Michael is the Saint Paint for patron. I'll spit my words out. The saint for police and military. And that's how I first learned more about Archangel Michael, was in my military career, my military training.
And as always, we appreciate your service and thank you for it.
Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
What are some of the most common misconceptions about angels that people have?
Yeah, the ones I hear, there's a few. One is, I'm only going to ask them for things that really matter, or life or death situations, because I don't want to bother them. And then I tell people, if you have that attitude, and I mention that in all four of my books, if you have the attitude that you're bothering them, you are now treating a divine source like a human being, and please don't do that. If you call me, Karen Forrest, 20 times a day to ask me for help, you're bothering me. If you ask a divine source, you're not, because they're not human being. So that's the biggest one I tell people. It's okay to ask for what we would label big or small things. The angels don't label them that, but I will. If I'm asking for, my sister is going through cancer treatment right now, to say please help her, versus I'm looking for a parking spot. Angels don't label that big or small. I'm not bothering them. That's asking for something that some people might call more important. Obviously is. My sister's cancer treatment's more important than my parking spot, but I asked for both. So that's one misconception. It's not a bother. They're there. They're not human. You're not bothering them, but you would bother me if you called me 20 times a day as a human. The other misconception is some people out of fear worry, if I ask an angel for help, is the devil going to come through? And I tell people, no. It's all about intent. If you're asking an angel or any divine source to come through, that's who you're invoking. Mm-hmm. That's who's going to help you. If you sit there and say, I want the devil to help me, then that's who's going to come through. It will be that. So I tell people, please do not worry that you're going to invoke a negative energy or entity or the devil or the boogeyman. If you're not asking for the devil or the boogeyman, they're not going to come through, because you didn't hold the intent of that.
Exonation, Karen Forrest is my special guest this hour. KarenForrest.com is the website, and we'll both be back on the other side of this short break as we continue talking about angels. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. You're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca.
Maybe the sun's light will be dim, and it won't matter anyhow. Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty. Oh, weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight. In the arms of the angel, fly away.
And that's Sarah McLachlan, Angel. Speaking about angels, my guest this hour is the Angel Lady. And she's right here in Canada, in Prince Edward Island. Her name, Karen Forrest. Her website, KarenForrest.com. First of all, always great having you here. I angels, my most favorite subject that we talk about here on the X Zone. And how do angels communicate with people?
Yeah, there's four main ways. Either through feelings, which is the most common way, or through hearing them, which is my main way of receiving messages, is I literally hear them, or through seeing them or visions that they give to you, or through a sense of knowingness. So 4 different ways that you receive messages from angels.
Is one more popular than the other?
Clairsentient feeling. People say, that's why I tell people, trust your gut instinct. Your gut instinct is feelings. So people say, oh, I feel this, or I feel that, or I feel the warmth, or something's telling me this isn't right. Don't feel right. It don't feel right. And I tell people, listen to that. That's your gut instinct, which is divine guidance. That's your angels talking to you.
Now, Karen, do angels have free will, or are they simply messengers of the divine?
Yeah, good question. Free will. They have, I see them as having free will, but I see them more than that. Free will, I think of more as humans. We can make decisions to do things that are not always in our best interest. We can do that as humans, and we absolutely do that as humans. Where when I'm talking about angels, that is a pureness and love and light. So they still have free will, but they don't tend to, they're not making the mistakes or going off the path or coming from fear-based energy that humans are coming from. So free will is more of a human thing.
Some people talk about fallen angels, and what are fallen angels compared to the archangels?
Yeah, I don't use the term fallen angels because that's fear-based energy. That to me is not even an angel then, because fallen means disgraced or not in a good place or negative energy, and that's not even my term of angel.
Okay.
Of angels, so I don't even use that term. But when I've read about it more in a religious sense, that's just fear-based energy. That again, that's not a reality. That with angels, that's why I tell people you're not going to get a fallen angel or a boogeyman or anything
Right.
like that if you ask for angels.
Are there any rituals or practices that you use to invoke the presence of the angels?
To literally invoke them, no, it's just simply holding the intent. I just think, Archangel Michael, I need this. Archangel Jophiel, help me with that. Archangel Raphael, help me with this. So I just think it inside my head. Can't say it out loud, but I don't tend to say their names out loud as much because if I'm going about my daily life, I can look crazy, so I just tend to think it. So the only thing is I just hold the intent. I think it. That's it.
Have you ever been out somewhere and an angel has given you a message to give to somebody?
No.
Eh?
Dead people would try to pull that stunt on me. Angels don't. They're not intrusive. I can go about my life and my angels or any angels are not bugging me to give messages to someone else unless I'm asking for it. So no. But sometimes I'll get some information about people just because I'm tuning into them anyway. So here's an example. I remember one day my nephew was at my house and he wasn't feeling well. So automatically I'm tuning into him going, oh gosh, what's wrong with him? And I'm suddenly asking angels and they show me what was wrong with him. I'm like, oh, that's not good. But that's because I was asking and tuning into him. If I hadn't, I would have received no messages. So the angels are not intrusive in that way, and that's good. I like that. Dead people, though, if you ask me, dead people would try to pull that on me.
Here's a question that I don't know if you can answer. In what way do angels play in the afterlife? For example.
Oh, yeah.
They do,
sure.
eh? Okay, great. Can you tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was surprised, because I didn't think about that question until I started talking to dead people. And then I realized, oh, yeah, I guess they have a role in the afterlife, too, because at first I just didn't think about it until I started working as a medium. And when I'm talking to dead people, they will often bring up angels. They'll say, oh, look, I'm here. I'm singing with the angels, or I really like being with the angels. They're kind of fun to be around, and I feel comfortable with them, or they're helping me with my soul progression, and they're helping me heal. They also frequently, a deceased person will talk about angels are there to help them cross over, to get into the afterlife, so they're not being stuck. So it does surprise me, and it is fascinating with the deceased that people are talking about angels and working with them in the afterlife.
Now, angels are believed to have a physical form. Do they appear to people in a physical form, or are they just spiritual?
Both.
Really?
They are spiritual, but they can, in order to help us and relate to us, appear in physical form. For some people, more if you're more visual or if you need it. So, for example, I have stories in my books. One is an example where a woman was in a car accident. She hit a moose. Luckily survived hitting a moose. But she had someone come up to her to calm her down and said, we're going to get some help. We're going to get someone to help you. And they stayed with her. And then the first person who came and helped them in another car, who called the police and ambulance, by then this other person disappeared. They came out of nowhere. And she realized later she was literally in the presence of an angel in human form, trying to calm her down until a real human being was sent to help her out. But she didn't recognize it right away. And I had the same experience. I talk about it in my book, Angel Lady of the Maritimes. When I was in the military, I was doing a 13K march. Now, this was a march that I was forced to do. I certainly willingly do not do 13K march with 50 pounds on my back, but I had to. And it was part of my military training. And I had to pass this as an officer training. And I had to deeply concentrate on literally just 1 foot at a time. And at one point towards the end, where I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, this is really hard, I suddenly felt this hand on my back. And I thought, oh, that's nice. One of the medics are helping me out, because always the slow person, which I was, they'll have literally someone, literally push you if they have to get you to finish. And I felt that on my back. I looked around, there's someone there, and I didn't say anything to them. I was just trying to focus on doing this stupid thing to get through my course. And at the end, I turned around to thank that person, because I did see them at one point, and I felt them constantly touching my back very lightly, and there's no one there. And then I asked the medic, who really was in the truck behind me. I said, which medic, which one was helping me? I want to thank them. They're like, there's no medic helping you. We're just driving behind you, waiting for you to finish. It was an angel. I didn't know right away. I really thought it was a human being behind me.
They were there waiting behind you to see whether you'd finish, or else they'd have to pick you up and bring you to the hospital.
That's
nice
really
people.
what they do on a Third King rucksack march. They do. They wait for the last person, which I was, to finish. And because in case any of us collapse, they got to pick us up and take us to the MIR. So that's literally their job. Pick you up and throw you in the truck in case you pass out. Yeah.
Clean up an aisle 32K
right.
march.
With my rifle and 50 pounds of kit on my back. Yep.
Tell me, during those marches, do you guys have live ammunition in your rifles?
No.
Oh, thank God.
It's very rare in Canada. We carry live ammunition as military personnel. I carried live ammunition when I was overseas deployed in peacekeeping tours. Mm-hmm. In Canada, other than, of course, the ranges, it's very rare because our focus is national peacekeeping and stability, not policing per se. So it's not often we would have to carry live ammo with us in Canada. Certainly overseas we did.
In your opinion, Karen, has the concept of angels evolved throughout history?
No, I wouldn't use the word evolved. It's pretty much stayed the same in religious viewpoints. I do encourage people, though, get to know them on a personal level, not just a vague idea, but to bring them into their everyday life to make it more personal for them, to help them out.
How can you get to know who your angel is?
I just tell people, just sit down for a minute. Just sit with them and invoke them one at a time. So you can sit down for a minute and say, hey, angels, I just want to get to know you. And I want to hang out with you for the next minute. And just be quiet for a whole minute. That's it. Then get on with your day. But in that minute, you might feel something. You'll definitely feel peaceful and calmer because you're connecting with a divine source. When I started working with the archangels to get familiar with more of the ones I was not as familiar with, I literally sat with them for a minute at a time, but over and over and over again, and started to invoke them into my everyday life to get more familiar with their nuances of energy. So I, in time, got more familiar with Michael versus Ariel versus Jophiel versus Uriel. But that's because I sat with them over and over and over and over again and practiced and meditated with them and called them in my everyday life, just get familiar. But I tell people, I don't care which archangel you call upon, which angel, just call upon some divine being They all work as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter which one you call upon. They're all going to be there to help you out regardless.
I would imagine that is how you identify the angels, by their
Yeah, by their energy because I'm
field.
so used to them, because
Right.
I took, same with goddesses. I took time over and over and over and over again to sit with them and invoke them and ask for the help, to be familiar with their energy. That way, when I'm doing my private sessions with people, I could be saying, okay, let's invoke Archangel Michael for clearing, and then I pick up on Uriel or Jophiel or some other archangel, and I'm like, oh, just wait, Metatron's here now, or Azrael's here now, or this goddess is here now, or Jesus or Buddha or any of them, because I've sat with them over and over and over again. That just came a practice.
You've sat with Jesus?
Oh yeah, I mean, he was easier because I grew up Catholic. That was easier energy to be familiar with for me. But I sit down with Jesus because a lot of times he will come through, because depending on my clients and who they are used to invoking in their life, if they
Right.
come from a Christian background, they're used to talking to Jesus or Mother Mary, then that's often who I'll pick up on around them, because that's who they're used to working with.
All right, Karen, stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour. In Exonation, Karen Forrest is my very special guest. Her website, KarenForrest.com. That's KarenForrest.com. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We're coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network from our studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed at classic1220.ca.
Storm keeps on twisting. Keep on building the lies that you make up for all that you lack. It don't make no difference. Escape one last time. It's easier to believe.
There is freedom within, there is freedom without. Try to catch the deluge in a paper cup. There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you never see the end of the road while you're traveling with me. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. No,
Welcome back, everyone. Angels is the topic of the hour, this final hour of tonight's show. Karen Forrest is my guest. Her website is KarenForrest.com. And Karen, one night I actually tried to find out who my angels were. I went home after doing the show,
Yeah.
and I sat down in the living room. Everything was dark, and from our home we overlook the city of St. Catharines, and I can see the Toronto in the distance, and I was just letting my mind go. And I must have done something wrong, because the three angels that came to me were Mo, Larry, and Curly.
That means that your angels have a sense of humor. Yep.
What has been
They
the
do.
yeah? What has been the most fascinating story that you've heard from a person after they read your book and they realized that angels are real?
Well, here's one more recently. A lady had read my book, and I had given an example of a story where a client had asked angels to help her find something. And I used an example to her. My husband lost his wedding band. We asked angels, look, just bring it back. And it took him 3 months, but they did bring it back. He found it in the most obscure place. But she read it in a book. She had lost a diamond ring, and it was a Canadian diamond. And she was upset. Not so much for sentimentality, but because it was a very beautiful diamond. And this happened recently. I just got a text recently from her. She goes, well, I remember in your book you asked angels to help you find things like this. She goes, so I asked my angels. I said she lost 2 rings. She found one within 2 days, still couldn't find this diamond, still kept asking angels. And then a week later, out of nowhere, she found it in her home in a place she wouldn't have expected. It was in a drawer in a place there's no way she would have lost the diamond there. And something was telling her to, dig in the drawer deeper, look further, and she did, and she didn't realize she was going to find her diamond, but she did, and she was really thrilled about that.
How do we tell the difference between angelic help and coincidence?
You don't. You can call it whatever you want. I tell people, don't get wrapped up about it. Just be happy. I ask the angels, if I'm asking them for help, I know it's from them. I know it's not a coincidence. So it's whatever people want to call it. Sometimes they'll call it coincidence. I call it angelic
Intervention.
But I don't care what words people use. To me, there is no difference.
Speaking about intervention, how do angels factor into the concept of divine intervention?
By the fact that with our free will, if we're asking for help, they're going to help us. It may not always be the way we want it, though, but they're doing what they can to intervene. But we also have to listen and at times act on what they're telling us to do in life, too. So it's kind of both. They're helping out, but they're also telling us what we need to do to help ourselves.
Let us say that somebody is in dire straits and they have been praying to the angels. They've been asking for angelic help. They have lived a good life and just something wrong has happened in their life. And they truly believe that at the very last moment, at least, there's going to be that divine intervention, and it never comes.
Yep, that's right, and it doesn't always. I don't do la land with people, and anyone who's had sessions with me knows that. It's just like people say, well, I prayed for my husband not to die, and he died. Yeah, that's right. People die. That's the way it works, and you don't get what you want in life the way you ask for it. So I look at when someone has a session with me to say, what can you do, if anything? Because just because you're asking for a certain thing, especially if it's about someone else and you're interfering with their free will and their soul path, you don't have that control. You just don't. I wish we did in life, but we don't. Or they could be saying, I really, really want this, and it didn't happen. Yep, that's right. I can't always explain it. I just look at and what's the next step in your life, because we don't always get what we want.
I would imagine the angels look at what the person is asking for and they say, is that a want or a need?
Nope, I ask for things I want all the time and I get it, including my trips and vacations, my upgrade to my suite in a hotel recently that I asked for, and that was a want, that was not a need. No, it's just, it's hard. Look, I'm not going to pretend I know all this. What I can say is, what are you doing to bring it about yourself? Are you listening to what they're telling you to do to make things happen? Yeah. And then again, what is your life purpose or your soul purpose that you're asking for something that's going against your soul purpose? Or often you're asking for someone else and you just don't have that control over someone else's soul purpose.
It's that old way of thinking that, you just because you ask for something doesn't mean that you sit on your hiney and wait for it to happen. You've got to give in your good share. Yeah.
I make that clear to my clients because some of them are lazy, and I get very firm with them and say, get off your butt. Get off your butt. Here's what the angel's saying you got to do. So anytime I do session with people, even things like with healing, people often ask about health questions. And I'll say, look, here's what the angels can do for your healing, but here's what you got to do too, right? Yeah. It's a two-way street here. They're saying you want this job. Well, this is what you need to do to get it. You want this to happen in life. Well, this is what you got to do to get off your butt and make that happen. You want more goodness in life. Well, are you in balance in your life, right? So it's a two-way street. It's not just angels saying, okay, here's your granted wish. There's often very much an accountability of, and you got to do your role in it too. So that's why I tell people really pay attention. What are you being divinely guided to do? What's your gut telling you have to do today, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense?
It used to be years ago, Friday night, we used to have 4 psychics on because we were on 4 hours. We were on from 10 at night to 2 in the morning. Yep. And you'd always get the same people calling in asking the same questions. Am I going to meet Mr. Right? Is my love life going to get, am I going to get, and it came to a point in the last night that I decided, hey, we're never going to do this again, have 4 psychics, was when somebody said, am I going to meet Mr. Right? I said, well, if you want, and the psychic, God bless her, she was trying her very best And I just said, hey, listen, what are you doing to make these things happen?
That's right.
Are you going to be
Yep.
happy with the FedEx guy who comes to the door and leaves an envelope for you? Are you going to hope that he's the guy who's going to fall madly in love with you?
That's right,
What are you
yeah.
doing?
Yeah, that's what I call flaky psychic readings. I don't do that crap in my sessions, and I make it clear that's what makes me a little bit different. Because those are common questions I get, and people
Yeah.
want that flaky psychic answer. When am I going to meet Mr. Right? And I'm telling them, well, let's look at what you got to do to get off your butt to make
Yeah.
that happen. Because if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. And then I look at, are you even ready? So I'm not the typical flaky psychic that says, in this month, you're going to meet this guy who's going to be this. No, that's nonsense. Like, there's still free will. You got to get off your butt.
Sure.
You have to do something. And that's where I look at my sessions. I ask the angels, what does this person need to do? I will ask the angels for help too, of course. I ask the angels to do some healing, remove some blockages if there's blockages in their way. I ask the angels, are you even ready for romance? Because sometimes people aren't. And I flat out say, look, you're not even ready, so don't even think of it, because you're just going to attract in the wrong guy, and it's going to be driving you nuts. And then other times I look and say, this is what you need to do, and are you doing it? And are you doing it? So it's not just you're going to meet them in this month and this is what they're going to look like. No, that's nonsense. That's not how life works.
Now, you were telling us earlier that you can identify the energy of 15
Archangels, a bunch of goddesses,
Right.
ascended masters. Yep.
Okay, now, do archangels let's see. Are more and more archangels brought on to the plane to become archangels, or are there just the set archangels that we know of?
My experience is the set ones that I am familiar with. I can't say that there's not more that I'm not familiar with, because I can't pretend I know everything out there that I'm not familiar with. It could be maybe there's an archangel and I'm just saying, yeah, it's an angel, because I'm not familiar with their energy. I just lump them and say you're an angel. So I can't honestly say that. But my experience has been a certain set of amount of archangels. But then I also work with goddess energy too, and ascended masters. So there's lots of energies, divine energies I work with.
How do you keep everything straight in your mind? You boggle my, because you're talking about all these different energies that you read. You talk to dead people. Like,
Yeah.
how do you keep sane, Karen?
It's easy with angels, or any divine being, angels, goddesses, ascended masters, God, because they're not intrusive. They're only talking to me when I ask them to, or if I'm asking about my life, they'll communicate with me. It's different with dead people. Dead people, I have very tight controls. They are absolutely not allowed to communicate with me. And Archangel Michael's my bodyguard, unless I give them permission, or if a divine being says it's important for them to communicate with me, because they would drive me crazy. And you'll see other mediums who are not, they're not well trained. They don't have a good grip on that, and they do go a little nuts, and their life becomes too out of balance with dead people. So I have very tight controls on dead people. But when I'm doing sessions and I have all these, archangels and goddesses, it's only through my experience of sitting with them that I'm familiar with their energy. They'll show me an image that I'm like, oh, I know you, or I know you feel, I know who you are. But that's because I've taken time over and over and over again to be familiar with their energies, to differentiate the nuances between them. Otherwise, if I'm not familiar with them, I'll just say, it's an angel. And it could be a very special one I've never heard of. I'm like, it's an angel. As long as it's divine, I don't care. It's an angel.
Karen, where can people buy your books?
Chapters in Amazon. You can buy my books. My website will have the links to those websites too.
Excellent. We have to take a break in about a minute, Craig was just telling me. How hard is it for somebody listening to us tonight, no matter where they are on this great, big, beautiful planet, to learn how to be an angel reader?
Oh, an angel reader like I do? If
Yeah.
you're doing it professionally, like making money like I do,
Yeah.
first of all, you want to make sure you divinely got it. That's the first thing I tell people. If you're not divinely got it to do this professionally, don't do it. Just keep it to doing angel readings for yourself and maybe some friends or family. There's a responsibility when you're doing it professionally like I am. So very first thing I tell people, make sure you divinely got it before you even start thinking of any training.
All right, Exonation, Karen Forrest is our guest, KarenForrest.com. And Karen and I will be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X-Zone. This show for tonight. That's it. Wow, dear, where did the 2 hours go, Craig? He doesn't know either. We'll have to ask our angels. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed on classic1220.ca.
Only shadows ahead, barely clearing the roof. Get to know the feeling of liberation and release. Hey now, don't dream it's over.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby.
And welcome back, everyone. Karen Forrest is our special guest. Her website is KarenForrest.com, and her books are available online. And if you want to go to her website, see more about Karen, the links to where you can get her books are right there. As always, Karen, it's so great talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on the show. And once again, thank you for your service. You've got a deck of angel cards, I understand, and that you're going to give our audience a reading.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because it's fun to get messages from your angels. I tell people it's not always about being serious. It can be fun too. Like, just relax, lighten up, and go have some fun hanging out with your angels. So the first card I pulled, this is from I'm using the Archangel deck because we're talking about archangels. This is Archangel Azrael. Azrael is more known for the angel of helping you cross over into the afterlife. And Archangel Azrael is talking about comfort, saying, I am comforting you and surrounding you with comfort and compassion and in your heart. And that's important for people to know that and feel that. If you're having a rough day, and we have that, and heaven knows I certainly have rough days, where I just say, look, angels, I just need to feel your presence so I don't feel so alone when I'm having a rough time. And it lifts my mood enough to be able to get through my day. It might not make it perfect or miracles happen, but it's enough to say, okay, now I can get through my day. And that's what he's saying. Please invoke us. We're right here. We're offering you comfort. We know it's not easy being human. And although they're not human, they understand and have compassion for us for being human, having not always the easiest of times. So they're there to offer comfort. And that makes your life a little bit easier in that moment of time. So that's Archangel Azrael. And I often feel him when I'm doing sessions where someone's going through a rough time. I will pick up on his energy and go, oh, you know, even at the beginning of a session, I'll be like, oh, just wait. I feel Azrael. That tells me there's something, you're going through a rough day. There's something rough going on here. And my client will say, yeah, it is. You know, it's not so easy today. That's why I booked with you today. The second card, this is Archangel Uriel. Uriel is known, it's spelled Uriel. Uriel, he is known more for giving you ideas, or also helping you in your career path too. And Uriel is saying you have ideas that come into your head that are answers to your questions. So for example, if you're wondering, geez, I wonder if I should take this job or change jobs, and then in the next few days you got ideas that pop into your head. That is an answer to what they're telling you to do. So they give you these brilliant ideas or ideas out of nowhere that are helping you out in answer to your prayers. And I often get this too. I could be asking, say, for example, you know, what workshop should I teach next or what develop next? And I ask that question in meditation and don't get an answer right away necessarily. And then 3 days later, I'm highway driving. My mind's relaxed, probably too relaxed highway driving. And then an idea pops into my head. I'm like, oh, just wait. That's an answer to something I asked about 3 days ago. Got an idea. I'm so brilliant. It's more they're brilliant and I'm listening, but I'll take the credit for it too. So that's Archangel Uriel.
Any more, or is that it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, there's lots. I got a whole deck in front of me. The next one I'm pulling, Archangel Chamuel. He's a little more well-known to, like Michael and Raphael, and he's the angel of peace. And often I can tell he's around people because I'll literally see a white dove, which to me represents peace. So if I start a session and I see a white dove, I'm like, oh, first of all, that's Archangel Chamuel. And it tells me maybe there's something going on in my client's life. They need some more peace. Or they're doing really good at a job in spreading peace. And that's what this card is saying. Archangel Chamuel, when I'm asking for the audience, what are you trying to say? Spit it out, Chamuel, and I'll spit my words out too. And what he's saying is, for the audience, their words, many of them are coming from a place of peace with their words, and he thanks them for that because it matters today. A lot of people are putting thoughts into their words. I know it's not on the news. We don't hear about it. We hear about the opposite. But many people are very much saying, I'm going to try to keep my words more positive today and more peaceful today to make this world a better place, to make my work job a better place, to make it a better environment in my family. And he thanks people for that effort because it matters, and he's helping them continue to do that and continue to commit to have their words come from a place of peace.
They all sound so angelic.
They are. That's the beauty of working with angels. They are. You don't get negative messages. You don't. Now, there's times I tell things to people they might not want to hear, including myself. The angels, like I remember when the angels were guiding me to retire from the military and talk to angels and dead people, and I was not open to that at first. I was very resistant to that idea, going, no, I'm not doing that, and yet here I am. So sometimes we resist what they say, but we know intuitively it feels right. And they always say it in a very loving way. There's nothing fear-based because angels are not about fear. They're pure love and pure light, so the messages don't come from a place of condemning or fear or anything like that, which is why I like communicating with them. It's all very positive, and you feel their energy when you communicate with them. You feel that peacefulness. You know,
Karen, it's so funny to hear you talk about angels and the angelic realm, and then I talk to dead people. Like,
yes,
it's like leaving the water that's nice and warm and jumping into your freezer.
Well, that's what it feels like to me, Rob. That's why I tell people, give me the choice. I will do angels and talk to them anytime. But God said, and by the way, Karen, because you have a background in grief counseling because of my mental health nursing, you'll learn to talk to dead people. I'm like, oh, because that's exactly what it feels like. I'm like, oh, dead people? I mean, yeah, they're nice and they're your relatives and they're my dead relatives too, but their vibration isn't the same. So give me the choice. I'll take an angel, an archangel anytime over dead people.
After speaking to dead people for such a long time, Karen, what happens to us at our time of passing based on what the angels or based on what the dead people say?
Dead people say to me. Yeah, here's what they consistently say, which was interesting when I first started this work, because again, I didn't know what they say. I didn't know what it was like, but always consistently they make it clear from the moment that they stop breathing, the moment they die, peacefulness. They feel peace immediately. There's no waiting around for this peacefulness. It's immediate. They also talk about what I call the crossing over, where they are greeted by loved ones from heaven who've crossed on before them, and angels. So they're crossed over or guided over with divine beings, angels, and their loved ones from heaven, who usually I call a greeter, one dead person who says, I'm going to come get your soul and you're coming with me. And they follow them right into the afterlife, right into heaven where they belong. So they always talk about how peaceful it is, how quick it is, and how they don't do it alone. That's always consistent.
Is there a difference between the dead people you talk, and I'm sorry, I just have problems saying dead people to an
I know.
angel
I
lady.
just have the words I used to make it very clear. There's a difference between angels and dead people. But yeah, they don't normally get too offended when I say dead people.
Is there any difference between the dead people
Those
that you
passed on.
talk to, or who have passed on, and ghosts that people refer to?
In my definition, there is, because a ghost means you're earthbound, you're dead. You're
Right.
one type of dead person, but you haven't crossed over yet. You're still earthbound. You're still stuck in the earth plane. And that's not good vibrations. That's very low energy.
So do the dead people help the earthbound spirits to go to the light, so to speak?
When I work with ghosts to help them, encourage them to cross over so that they're not stuck, that's exactly what happens. The very first thing I'm doing is invoking the relatives of the lights, those who have successfully crossed over, to say, please come help this soul. Because a dead person, including a ghost, is more likely to go with another dead person because they're not afraid of them. Or if they're afraid of angels, because a lot of people are afraid, I'm going to be judged and I'm not going to go to heaven. I'm going to go to somewhere else. So I'm
Right.
not going to the angels. But they'll go with the dead people. So I always invoke a dead person to help another dead person, earthbound or ghost crossover. Yes.
My last question for you tonight is, if a person does not have any religious grounding, they've never gone to church, they've never taken up with one religious philosophy or another, in their time of need, can they call for angels?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I encourage people. And I tell them, use whatever word works for you. I don't want people getting hung up with words. As long as the definition means pure love and pure light. I tell people, religion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Religion is something completely different than spirituality. They're not the same thing to me, spirituality and religion. But I tell people, invoke who you feel comfortable with in the word that you feel comfortable with. That's a high vibration. That's who you invoke. It doesn't matter what your religious or no religious or spirituality or no spirituality. That doesn't matter. They don't care.
So I've got about a minute and a half here before we have to say so long again. What are you going to be up to? I remember that you were doing cruises.
I was doing cruises in the past. I used to guest speak on cruises. Had lots of fun. I became addicted to cruises, so I still cruise, but I don't guest speak on them anymore. What I do have, my next venture, I am doing an Awakenings Retreat. The information's on my website at a place called Nature Space Resort in Prince Edward Island. Now that's already full. It filled up within 2 days. So we're going to do some more of them. So people can still call and say, please put me on a wait list for when Karen does another event there, because it's a beautiful spot in Prince Edward Island. I'm so excited to do this event in May.
Well, Karen, again, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day. Please give my love to the angels and say hi to a couple of dead people for me. It sounds so wrong. I don't know about this. But anyway, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. And again, I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone.
Thank you.
Take care, my friend. And X Zone Nation, that's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night at, let me see, 10 o'clock, imagine that, same time as tonight, as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. until midnight right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca. So until tomorrow, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.
Let you out into the world. Closing time. Turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time. One last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer.